Hey, everybody. It's Tiff back with another episode of Meet the Trainers. And I've got our dynamic duo here with Tim and Ashton, who hopefully everybody knows, but if not, we're going to hear their introductions in just a minute. Gentlemen, I am thrilled to have you back. We haven't scared you away yet. That's phenomenal. Thank you so much. You guys are some of the longest serving TACCon trainers. You're among our veteran class at TACCon. So for anyone who hasn't met you, let's hear who you are, what you do. Tim, do you want to start with you?
Sure. Tim Chandler. I've been involved in formal firearms training for more than 20 years, and I'm not going to tell you how much more. But it's been a while. I've trained with lots of people, and eventually I got kind of voluntold I was going to start doing some shotgun classes, and well, it just kind of grew from there. So I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying it, and we're helping people. So it all works out.
Awesome. Thank you. And Mr. Ashton Ray.
I'm Ashton Ray from 360 Performance Shooting, and I've been training people for about 20 years or so. I've finally started to get okay at it here in the past year or two. But constant improvement's always the goal, right?
Yes, improvement is the goal, but I will accuse you of being a little bit modest there and saying you only just recently got good at it. So we can agree to disagree there. I'd rather you be humble than be big headed. So we'll leave it at that. How about that?
That works.
So Tim, you mentioned shotgun. We can start there because yours and Ashton's shotgun class at TACCon is now kind of famous as a mainstay. Tell us about defensive shotgun.
Well, I'm flattered to hear that. I didn't know that.
That is true.
So, Tom has been one of the few voices in the wilderness over the last 20 years while everybody else is obsessed with black rifles. He's been saying, a properly set up shotgun is probably about the most effective thing a citizen can wield in defense of their family or their business. And, when Tom says something, we kind of believe it. So Ashton and I both grew up killing stuff with shotguns, and we've had the good pleasure and good fortune of also training and learning from Rob Haught. And, we've seen a lot of stuff over the years, and we firmly believe in the defensive capacity of a shotgun. And we have multiple clients now who unfortunately have had to use a shotgun to protect themselves, and they report spectacular results in accomplishing what they needed to. So our foundation, the reason most people don't train with shotguns is because it beats the living daylights out of them. But recoil only happens if you let it. And we're going to teach you how to mitigate the recoil of the gun so the gun becomes controllable. And then it's kind of like having a pet dragon, right? Once you learn how to tame it, you put a bit and bridle in its mouth, then you can point fiery death at whatever displeases you. So our block is focused on making sure the gun isn't kicking your butt. You're running the gun isn't running you, and teaching you how to effectively use it, keep it loaded, whether you want to load it or have to load it, making sure you can keep it fed so that you can keep doing what you need to do to outlast any criminal threat you're likely to face. We have fun with it, we enjoy it, but we teach serious skills without taking ourselves too seriously. At least that's what people tell us. So we're looking forward to it. We love teaching shotgun because it's a great underused, underappreciated platform.
Well, everything you said is true. I will absolutely vouch for that. If you've not trained with Tim and Ashton, you are in for a treat because they are hilarious and they kind of feed off of each other in the most perfect way. And it's just really a fun time. So highly recommended. But you also have a class, Ashton, and I'll come to you for this one, called Red Pilled Pistol, which where any fan of sci-fi is just the perfect name for a pistol class. So tell us about Red Pill Pistol, Ashton.
Red Pill Pistol is kind of a taste. I've described it, at least for the folks coming to TACCon that are in the Facebook group. I've described the training blocks in TACCon as an appetizer, not a meal. Compared to the meal would be a full class from one of the presenters. This is absolutely an appetizer, but what Red Pill Pistol does is the word demystify is used in the class description or the block description, and that's really what it comes down to when it comes to shooting pistol for me. there are things that you can do if somebody just explains it to you to make this process so much simpler. And I walk around kind of shaking my fist at the sky and screaming at clouds saying, why didn't somebody tell me this 20 some years ago? Because I was kind of walking around bumping into stuff, trying to figure out how all this worked, with people telling me, see what you need to see, duh, bro. And so we kind of try, and we go through and we say, hey, look, if you've ever heard this, if you've ever heard see what you need to see, this is what it means. At least this is my translation of what it means. So whenever we go through that, we try and break these things down to their pieces parts. For me, I've had to, in all of my professional life, I have to distill things down as far as I can get them so that they're still discernible. You can still understand them. So basically what I tell people is when I teach people how to run nuclear power plants, I'm just a farmer that's barely good enough at math to be here. So what I do is I convert complicated things into farmer talk so that normal people can understand them. That's the whole goal of Red Pill Pistol, is to take all of these sort of cool and overused, sometimes trite sayings that have been around the whole thing for a long time, and when it comes to shooting pistol, and say, hey, look, this is what they mean. That's the goal of Red Pill Pistol.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And it's perfect for folks like me who did not come out of the womb guns blazing, and maybe kind of fell into this community later on, and it doesn't come as naturally, and everything is a bit more labored in terms of understanding and mastering skills. And so those kinds of sayings that you're talking about, they fall flat with me and a lot of people like me. And so I love how Ashton and Tim are able to, as you said, take these really obscure concepts that could very easily float over people's heads and turn them into palpable, kind of actionable, practical techniques that are in the best vein of TACCON and range master doctrine, broadly applicable, the thing that 80% of folks can actually use right now today. And I don't get to sit back and say, well, of course you can do that because your fingers are 8 inches long or whatever,
Well,
so
Tiff, there's something that you said. We're not just the didn't come from the womb able to shoot club presidents. We're clients too. There ain't but so many Tim Herons out there running around that happen to be really sharp, really smart, and also their brains are really connected to their bodies, and they're really good at this. And I hate them. I hate them a lot.
I know, me too.
But
I'm so jealous.
I'm so jealous. I really am. But for everybody else that's kind of toiling their way through this is the distillation of decades of us putting in that work in the salt mine, so to speak, and trying to make these things accessible for normal people.
The tagline is the stuff we wish we could have told ourselves 20 years ago, the way we wish it had been told directly to us at the time. Because Absolutely. If I had known this earlier, I would have spent a lot less time and money sucking. So that's what we're here to help you guys avoid.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate you sharing that with the TACCON family. Folks, you will not want to miss that. And if that weren't enough awesomeness from the Tim and Ashton crew, we have a third class coming from this dynamic duo, a new one that you proposed this year called 8-Second Ride, another one of those fantastic Tim and Ashton titles. So Tim, tell us all about 8-Second Ride and why we should go for other reasons besides just enjoying the title of the class.
Well, keep in mind, we're just a couple of hillbilly shotgun instructors. we don't know nothing about pistols. I mean, we haven't won like past TACCON shoot offs and
none of that
post
stuff.
The highest score on the Pistol Master Award, nothing like that. So, we don't want any of those pistol shooters to get too offended.
For those, by the way, for those who are new, in case it was lost on you, that was total sarcasm. Tim's not in his usual surroundings where all of his awards are behind him, but Tim totally did everything he just said he didn't do. So
right. So there have been a lot of problems folks have in running a gun. We teach you to shoot a shotgun and to manage a shotgun with your entire body, right? Shooting a shotgun properly starts at your toes. That allows you to effectively manage recoil and effectively manage the gun. And once again, we're just hillbilly shotgun instructors, but what if you did kind of the same thing with pistols?
Never
Like,
work.
for instance,
It'll never work.
couldn't possibly. Like, how many of you out there have noticed, and this is a sign of whether or not you got a decent coach or not. How many of you notice somebody shooting and they fire a few shots and all of a sudden you see them readjusting their support hand because their hands keep coming apart, right? Does that sound like anything anybody's ever experienced before? What if we showed you how not to have that happen? What if we showed you how to stop using, as Ashton calls it, your little chicken wing muscles in your forearms? Stop using the little weak muscles in your body to manage the gun and maybe, I don't know, involve your entire upper body in the fight. Might that be useful? What if we showed you a way to grip the gun? Because, Glocks shoot left, low and left all the time. What if we showed you that there was a way you could actually grip the gun where that kind of stopped happening? Stuff like that. That might be kind of interesting, right? Go ahead, Ashton.
Well, I mean, again, this is kind of an excuse for Tim and I to coach you.
Yep.
It's really what it comes down to. All my classes are always just an excuse for me to coach you because that's all I really want to do. I don't really like to stand up there and run my mouth that much. I just want to tell you how to shoot better. But the foundational part of this is once you get once you can hang on to this and you can ride that bull for 8 seconds, kind of that kind of idea, it makes the rest of it a heck of a lot easier, right? It makes all the rest of it a heck of a lot easier. My goal for pistol shooters is always to be able to make the shooting the easier part such that they can start to think behind the gun. Once they can start to think behind the gun, hashtag copyright, registered trademark, 360 performance shooting. No, that's a joke. But once you can start to think behind the gun, then you can start to solve problems. That's whenever the gun becomes a useful tool to you instead of just a thing that you can poke holes in things with. So if you're sitting there thinking front sight press every time you press the trigger, you don't really have a lot more brain power left over for anything else. So we're trying to give you a process that's simple, and a process that's repeatable, and a process that with which you can be successful, such that you can start to build that automatic function. What's the big word?
Automaticity.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, make things easy so that they happen without you thinking about them too much. You can think about more important things like solving lethal problems in front of you. So that's
Wonderful.
kind of the goal here.
So whether you're competing or whether you're being forced to protect yourself, you're going to have to fire a series of accurate shots rapidly, right? The red pill pistol part is about essentially the top half of the gun and learning how to run that instead of allowing that to run you. Well, the 8-second ride is about the bottom half of the gun, so that you start steering the gun and the gun stops steering you, if that kind of makes sense, right? So you're getting there kind of two areas that we hit in performance pistol. You're just getting a more tight, discrete block where we can't get into all the detail we do in a full class, but you can get quite a bit of the benefit of our 2-day class if you're lucky enough to get into both of them. Look at me sounding all pretentious. If you're lucky enough to get into both our classes, or unlucky enough to be inflicted, either way, you'll kind of get an idea.
Go see John Farnham. Do something useful.
You're a terrible salesman, Ashton. Stick to calculus. Right? So you'll get the top and the bottom half of the gun, and that tends to go together pretty well, right?
Well, I do think that would be quite a bit of luck. Anybody that gets to train with Ashton and Tim not once but twice is lucky indeed. So you're right about that. Folks, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Always fun. And this is like 3 years in a row that we've done this recording and I didn't end up like throwing up the drink and choking on my drink. I will never forget that. I'm sorry I keep bringing it up, but every time I get on these calls with you, it brings back those traumatic memories, folks. If you don't know, now you know.
We're not bringing it up. We're not doing it. You can't blame
No,
me. I
You
just
did
you
that to
never bring
yourself.
it up. I just, as soon as you guys jump on camera, I think about that time that I almost choked to death. And you guys sat there so respectfully and patiently, like, we'll wait. Whenever you come back,
As soon as we get on camera,
assuming you
Tiffany
don't
gets
die.
violently ill. That's what I took away from that.
exactly. Exactly.
Oh,
I have that
gosh.
effect on women often.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I will let you guys get back to your day. Thanks again. And I cannot wait to give you both great big hugs in Dallas, my friends. See you soon.
Looking forward to it. Take care,
See you
folks.
soon, Tiff.